Welcome back, everyone, to the Mindful Empath. This is Michael Evans. We are in the middle of a 4-episode stretch of some foundation setting. And beyond that, as I've mentioned, I really want to push further into the conversational side of empathy. I don't want this to be an entire series of me just telling you things. So my ask is, if you have a story to tell, and if you want to share with me and the dozens of people that might be listening or reading or watching this uh, podcast, then please, please, please message me. I want to have those conversations in real time and be able to explore what that empathic moment, that energy, kind of where that brings us to, because it is a beautiful thing. It's an absolutely wonderful thing. So if you have a story about connection, about how an empathic moment really shifted your insides, how approaching your emotional intelligence with a mindful kind of posture, how that has affected you. How does empathy and or mindfulness work with what you do in your day in and day out, at home, in the boardroom, in the office, at school, wherever you might be? There's a lot of nuance, and there's a lot of different ways that we can look at this. And the more information and the more stories that we collect and we listen to, the more likely we are to be even more empathetic. And to that end, Season 4, Episode 3, Mindfulness 101, we are going to take a very short kind of time here. It might not even extend beyond 15 minutes to discuss what does that mean? What is mindfulness? Because so many times when you hear the term, the immediate thing that is conjured up in your mind is this idea of meditation and of emptying your mind. And no exaggeration here. Whenever I talk about this in a group of people, I at least get one or two people saying, I can't meditate. I can't silence my mind for more than 2 or 3 minutes at a time. And kind of pulling back from that and understanding that that's actually the point. That's actually okay. We're not trying to anesthetize or completely bleach our experience so that we can sit down on a pillow and meditate for hours on end. That is not what we are doing here. And so, from a definition standpoint, so if we're just really clear about that, um, mindfulness is the practice of purposely bringing your attention to the present moment, your present awareness. That's all that it is, without judgment, as best as we can. That's it. It's not emptying your mind. It's not sitting on the pillow and meditating for hours on end. It's paying attention to what is already there. That's another key distinction to bring up. What is happening in the now? It's not necessarily conjuring anything else other than paying attention to the present moment. Think about it in this way. We are time travelers. constantly, every day. We spend so much of our time thinking about the past, replaying conversations or arguments, and worrying about things that have already happened. Or the alternative is that we are so far into the future, planning out to do lists, anticipating events, feeling anxious about what's to come. We spend so much time traveling that we ignore what is happening right in front of us. And don't get me wrong, these are necessary functions for our brain, for our understanding, but they do pull us away from where we actually are, which is right here and right now. One of the more, uh, please take this with all the generosity in my heart, but one of the more esoteric ways that I've heard of time is that we actually don't exist on a timeline. We don't pass through time. Time passes through us. Now, that might sound incredibly philosophical, maybe a little bit kind of wonky, but just consider this. When was the last time that you were doing something that you enjoyed and it felt like it was so fleeting? That it happened and it was so quick and then it was just over. Whereas when we do something that we do not necessarily enjoy, it feels like we are slogging through it. We experience time as it happens through us, not how it happens to us. And taking those mindful moments to slow down actually helps us. It increases the time that we are able to experience in especially the things that we enjoy. Now, that's not to say that we only do that in order to uh, in order to experience those joyful moments, but it is an interesting phenomenon nonetheless, right? The goal of mindfulness is to gently bring your awareness to the present. And don't get me wrong, the operative word here is gently. We're not trying to force our minds to be still. Think of your mind as a busy highway with thoughts rushing by like cars. Mindfulness isn't about walking out and stopping the traffic. It's about pulling your car over to the side of the road and observing the traffic without getting back in and driving off with one of those thoughts. You're simply a witness. You are observing. So, how do we start? Now, we are going to do a simple, very short exercise here, real quick. This is a very basic practice that everyone can do in their own time, and you can do it anywhere. I would maybe caution doing any kind of mindfulness while you're driving, of course. Keep your eye on the road, keep eyes open. But for our purposes here, you can just imagine this moment, right? I want you to get comfortable. If you're sitting in a chair, try to sit straight up. Put your feet flat on the floor if possible. If you're lying down, you can do that. Put your palms down so they are flat against the surface of your bed or your couch or wherever you are. And I want you to gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. Now bring attention to your breath. Don't try to change it. Don't try to control it. Now that I've mentioned your breath, don't take a really deep one that feels unnatural. Just notice your breathing. Feel the air as it comes through your nose or your mouth. Feel it as it leaves your body. Notice the rise and fall of your chest or your belly. Maybe you can feel the temperature of the air as it cools your nostrils or on the inhale and warms them on the exhale. Now listen, your mind, it's going to wander. That's what minds do. It will think about what you have to do later, or that email that you forgot to send, or that call that you need to make. When you notice your mind has wandered, you simply acknowledge it without judgment. You say to yourself, okay, a thought about dinner has arrived, and then gently, without any scolding, you guide your attention back to your breath. This is the key and skill of mindfulness. It's not preventing your mind from wandering, but practicing the act of bringing it back. It's like a bicep curl for your attention muscle. Every time you bring your focus back, you're strengthening that muscle. All right. So, why is this important for people like me, people like us that might consider ourselves on the highly sensitive, empathic spectrum, right? It's because our minds are often cluttered with not just our own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, but the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and energies of other people. We can get so caught up in what someone else is feeling that we lose our own footing. That's why this concept of grounding, while that might sound woo woo and esoteric to some, but the idea of finding your ground is so important. Mindfulness can be an anchor. It's the practice that helps us return to ourselves when we feel like we're being pulled in a million different directions. It's how we differentiate our own feelings from the feelings we're absorbing from the world around us. It gives us a moment to ask, is this anxiety mine, or is it something I'm picking up? This simple act of awareness is the first step toward creating and setting a healthy boundary and protecting your peace. Now, in closing, I want to give you a challenge for the week, my friends. I want you to find a moment to practice some micro mindfulness throughout your day. It does not have to be a 20-minute or 15-minute or even 10-minute meditation. Just try these few things. When you're drinking your coffee or tea, pause for a moment. Notice the warmth of the mug in your hands. Take the time to be aware physically, physiologically, of what's going on around you or the sensations in your body. Notice the warmth of the mug, the steam rising, the aroma, the taste. Or perhaps it's when you're washing your hands, you feel the water. Notice the sensation of the soap. Don't speed through it. Take your time. Notice the feeling of your hands as they become clean. Or maybe it's when you're walking from one room to another. Notice your feet, the feeling of your feet on the floor. Notice every part of your foot, your heel, and then the front of your foot and your toes, and the movement of your legs, and the entire sensation of what it means to walk. Now, these are very small, simple things to do. And when you stack them together, they can absolutely, amazingly enough, become life-changing. They train your brain to be present. It's important to remember that mindfulness is not about being perfect. It's about the practice. It is literally about the practice of doing the thing and being aware of it as you're doing it. It's about being present, one gentle breath at a time. Thank you for being a part of this journey. I hope that we can continue on and have a beautiful week. We will see you next time.